Hey.
Send the link out. You just get call failed.
Right. Oh, bizarre. Wonders of wonders. Windows 10.
Yeah. Well, that seems to be working now. So everything's on there. Let's get a chat room on this one.
I just can't seem to get internet to the chat room.
Well, let's keep. Jason, Gary, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Okay, good. Been a busy week, really, isn't it?
It certainly has. Yes. Must be some big show going on.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I had a nice trip over to Barcelona the weekend.
Did you just go? Were you just on holiday? Or were you actually timing?
No, I was there for a product launch, which you might have seen quite a bit of press on.
That's right.
I was helping behind the scenes at the HP event, amongst other things.
Right. Okay.
Ooh, get you.
Yeah. So
I'm not actually allowed to say that because I'm not allowed to say my company help, but I'll say I'm there somehow.
Yeah. So we've got lots to talk about tonight. Actually, we've got things from Mobile World Congress, including the HP. We've got new builds of phone and desktop.
Yes, not that I predicted it. Well, yes, I did.
Yes, well predicted. And of course, I'm not going to jump straight into that. As having said, I need this sort of preview ring that wasn't the fast ring. But did I put the new build on my phone? We'll find out later. We've got band updates and Surface Book updates and quite a few bits and pieces we want to talk about tonight. And Gary, I believe we've got a special bonus interview that you've lined up as well.
Yes, so I mentioned this last week, and you saw a nice little promo on the site if you looked at last week's show. I've got an interview with Crazy Talk, well, actually with Real Illusion, the publishers of Crazy Talk, and they've got a new version of Crazy Talk out, which is a fabulous little product which allows you to take audio and apply an animated character to it, talking that audio. So, for example, we could animate the whole of the show with little animations of me, you, and Jace. Could be interesting. But this new version actually allows you to take about one step further. And what you can do is you can take a front-facing photo of somebody and a side-facing photograph of someone and actually turn that into an animated 3D head.
Oh, very interesting.
Blimey.
So it's very impressive stuff. So you really could animate people that way as well. And it's great for doing product launch interview things. And there's a couple of, as you'll hear on the review, there's a couple of really good usages for it out there. We'll be reviewing it on Fascinating Tech, but I was fortunate enough to go to the product launch a couple of weeks ago, and that's now freely available to be talked about. So we later on in the show we'll have an interview with one of the main lead guys from Real Illusion who knows all about it.
Excellent.
Oh, and we've got new firmware as well.
Yes, we've got new firmware. What new firmware for which device?
That was for the Surface Book and the Surface Pro 4, which I think came out just after it recorded, I think.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, we've got that as well. I also want to mention as well, we do sort of the giveaway for the book out now as well. So Entertainment Apps on the Go Windows 10. So if you want to win, just send me an email, at digitallives.com, or retweet the tweet I did earlier today about it, or like us on Facebook, or subscribe to a YouTube channel, something like that, and let us know that you want a copy of the book, and I'll just pick out a winner at random, and I'll send you a signed copy of the book.
Yes. Yeah, very rare, those things.
Yes, they are. Yes.
Hopefully people will have seen your tweet with the new randomized Twitter.
Yeah, so I use TweetDeck, so I haven't seen that.
No. I think it's opt-in at the moment, isn't it? But
it's not randomized either. Is it?
Oh no, it's a very
algorithmically optimized. I think.
Yeah,
they would say. Well, I hope it's not like Facebook, because I never like the Facebook timeline. The way that Facebook timeline, it always seems to be completely random to me. It never seems to optimize that. So
yes, I think I'm sure it's a very cunning algorithm, Baldrick.
Yes, I'm sure it is. Yeah, I mean that's the whole point of Twitter is I like the strict timeline view of it. That's the reason why I use it.
Yeah, I mean I know this isn't really our normal topic, but I guess for people that are new to Twitter, that don't necessarily look at it every day like we do, I can see some level of use for it. So, if the people that you most interact with when you do use Twitter, if those tweets could, be kind of brought to the surface rather than being strict timeline, I can see some usage scenarios for it. And I think, Twitter's got to try and grow its user base. It seems to have stalled at the moment, so I guess it does need to experiment. But like you say, for us kind of people that have been there almost since the beginning, for some of us, it's that's not what we want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I can see certain things, certain people that are more relevant. But you can do that with lists and things. But I suppose it's not really maybe what the average user wants to do.
Yes.
Like I've got an alert when Gabe posts about new builds.
Yes.
He
emails me personally, but if you have to watch
it, well, it checks with you first.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I just set up an alert, so I get alerts when he's but he tends to tweet in batches as well, so you get all these alerts firing up. But it's the new build ones that I'm interested in, and like I said, we do have new builds to talk about tonight.
It was very strange with him being in Barcelona this week, seeing him tweet at that time of the day.
Yes, on the normal timeline. Yeah. But in fact, one of the builds was released really late on Friday night, wasn't it? The phone build.
Yeah, it was certainly quite late. I mean, I think we talked about this, didn't we? And I said with the introduction of the Windows Insider kind of current build preview, I did speculate that the Windows 10 mobile build of Wedgestone must be quite soon, and yeah, lo and behold, it popped up.
Yeah, it does. So let's start with that. So I won't go on about too much, but the dead platform that is totally complete, finished, and written off. We've got a new build and a couple of new devices.
Yeah.
So anyway, let's start off with the new build. So this was Friday evening, was it?
Yeah, I think it was actually. I think it must have been. It was quite late, wasn't it? Because there was certainly no. I mean, I think Gabe had been tweeting as he was coming across to Barcelona that there'd be some news later in the week that people would like. So, but apart from that, it was. I mean, there were no leaks that it was coming or anything. So,
Yeah. So, for those paying attention to numbers, it was Bill 14267. You need to write that down for our end of year quiz.
That sounds a familiar build number. I've seen that one before.
It does sound familiar, and it'd be one of those ones that I always say. Do you remember this was the one that was a PC and phone, and because it's the first Redstone build, of Windows 10 for mobile devices, but not available for all Windows 10 mobile devices.
Yeah, but I can't have it.
Yeah. So, blimey, that really kicked up a storm, didn't it? Even though we've been saying it for
they've been saying
over a month now.
Yeah. And it's not surprising either, is it? So,
so just to explain, which
triggered a slight tweet storm for me, I think.
which devices is it available for?
Well, quite simply, it's available for Microsoft devices which came pre-installed with Windows 10.
Right.
So that's obviously the 950, 950 XL, 550.
Yeah.
And the new 650, I guess, as well.
Yeah.
Yes, which everybody instantly started kicking off at. And I think, I mean, they were very open that this was going to be the case. And I think there's two, as far as I can say, there's two scenarios really. First of all, Windows 10 Mobile hasn't launched on previous devices yet, and when it does, they're going to need insiders to kind of test bug fixes and whatnot before they go out to a wider audience. And yes, okay, so there will be some of us like myself whose primary device I've opted into the current build preview program, so I'll be there to help them. But also, I think, as Gabe pointed out, that they don't have the recovery images for Windows 10 yet for those devices. So if you decide to move forward with Redstone, being a current Windows 10 threshold insider, and your phone and something goes wrong or something doesn't work the way you expected it to, you're going to, at the moment, you'd have to go all the way back to Windows Phone 8.1 and then move all the way forward again. So, and you just know that people are going, I can't believe it, I've got to go all the way back to Windows 8.1. So yeah, I think number one, firstly, they were really open about it, and two, I think, just a bit of patience, guys.
Yeah, but that did present me with a bit of a dilemma. Having said quite a few times, what I'd like is a preview ring that just gives you the latest fixes without actually putting you onto the Redstone build. But having said that, then I had the option. Then do I stick with the preview build or do I go forward and try this build? So Yes, you guessed what I would have done.
You tried that build, didn't you?
I did try that build, and
Is that right up there with me going, I'm not putting preview builds on my Surface Pro
yeah,
3?
exactly the same. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think it is because I know him too well. Whereas Jason, I actually suspected you wouldn't, but
Yeah.
he was always going to do that.
So having asked for this preview ring and they got it, and then totally ignored it and went straight to the Redstone, which I have to say, I'm touch where I've been quite lucky. I seem to have seen a lot of other people rolling back to the Threshold 2 build with 950 XLs because there's been quite a lot of issues with it.
I think one of the big ones not charging, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's on the 550 that it's not charging. And I think
so the recommendation at the moment is not to upgrade the 550, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and you've got to you have to use the recovery tool to put that back on. And as we've discussed in the past, the backup restore isn't brilliant. It's a shame that really. It would be really nice if you had a proper image backup, wouldn't it? So you could do it and then think, okay, well, fair enough. I've given it a go. I'll just roll it back, and you just can't do that.
Yes. And then prompt all the people tweeting Gabe going, you still can't get Windows 10 Mobile right.
I know.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so far, touch wood, I've not had any issues. I think it crashed once on me after first installing it. Since then, it's been okay. Battery life seems to be better. Actually, I noticed that the Windows Hello seems to work better as well from further away.
Yes, that's one of the things they said was going to be improved on this version. So yeah,
you can sort of hold the phone much further away, and it detects you. Not quite in the car angle yet, but certainly enough that you don't have to actually hold it in front of your face.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed the live tiles weren't updating, although they said that was one of the fixes, but that seems to sort itself out as well. But the main changes, I think, in this, apart from going on to Redstone, was it's got the music icon in Cortana, hasn't it, for listening to like a Shazam type feature.
Yes, yeah, which I thought
it was already there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You had to tap the microphone icon, and then it would hear the music, and then you could tap the music icon, I think.
Right, I'm with you.
And now you've just got the one tap on there. But I think one of the things they have fixed, which I think we've talked about, is the WordFlow keyboard in the Edge.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's still a problem on the Threshold 2 build I've got on my 930. But it only seems to affect certain apps. So Tweetium, it seems to affect, but other third-party apps it doesn't. So it's a bit of a strange one.
Yeah, I think it's to do with, I think, must be the way that they implement the control. But they've said they fixed that. I think there was an in private button for Edge, or they've moved that to make it easier to spot. And the download, when you actually download, you get a confirmation download, which is quite good now. Because in the past, actually, I've tried downloading things. You think, oh, it's not worked that, and then you try it again, and you think, no, it's not worked, and then it says complete, because it was in a sort of a separate download section you had to go to. So now you get a little dialog box which you can then cancel if you want. And what else was there? Oh yeah, you can. There's a paperclip thing in Skype Messenger now, so you can include photographs.
Hooray!
Yeah. And what else was? Oh yeah, you can record videos directly to the SD card. Previously there was a problem with drop frames, and they said they improved the live tile animation.
Yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, it's more significant that we've got a build at all, really, necessarily than what the changes are at this point. It's going to be interesting how quickly these builds kind of start to meld into something that could be released, because we still don't know any kind of time frame, and I'd imagine we're probably looking at summer. But me personally, I'd like to see these builds, releases come out much quicker.
It's going to be interesting on that. So they've got Threshold 2 builds, and now they've got Redstone builds. Which is going to be the one that upgrade that the Windows Phone 8.1 devices get?
Yeah, it's a really good question, that, and I mean, I have to question a little bit whether they should be concentrating on doing the Redstone builds at the moment while Threshold's still in the state it's in. But I guess they have to, because the code base is moving on for the common code.
Yeah. I mean, my expectation is that 29th of Feb's the date that seems to be getting banded around. That would be the threshold too. At the moment, probably the 107 build.
Yeah.
I've seen quite a few.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say I've seen quite a few tweets from people that were complaining about their 950 and 950 XL, saying that this build is just significantly better, almost to the point of kind of close to perfection, if you like. I'm still expectant that when my 930 finally gets an official update, that there'll be a firmware to go with it, because I am having some odd things with like the Bluetooth stack, the Wi-Fi stack, and even today my mobile data stack crashing, and that I'd expect to be driver based rather than OS based.
Yeah. So that makes so the plan would be threshold 2 next week to existing devices. The 950s and 550s, whatever, get the 107 build, and then if you're an insider on the fast ring, you get the Redstone build, and then the Redstone build gets sent to everybody at some point in the future.
Yeah, well, the 107 build is already out in the public.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, for the 950.
Yeah. So yeah, that would be my expectation, and maybe we'll continue to get these monthly cumulative updates for both desktop and phone going forward, month by month, to the point when Redstone 1 comes out, which I expect it to be summer, I would have thought. But whether or not they'd aim for another July release, same as the original Windows 10 release, I'm not sure. That seems like a bit of a long way off.
Yeah, and it depends on what they include in it, I suppose. I mean, they can add or cut features to suit whichever date they want, really. Because the Redstone build is actually on the desktop, which we'll talk about shortly. It's actually not that bad. It's fairly stable, but it hasn't got many of the new features that they've yet to put into it.
That's right. Yeah. I wonder whether or not they're actually going to try and aim for 2 significant releases a year, because if they can hit an October-November release for Redstone 2, that's kind of again falling into the kind of Christmas market, isn't it? Get new PCs with the latest features on it, and then an update kind of early summer, kind of June, July time.
Yeah, we should tie in nicely with some of the things we've been hearing about some of the new devices.
Now, just to wrap up on that, and so the 14267, there is one known issue with that. Visual voicemail doesn't work, and actually then the other known issue, which they added to the post afterwards, is about the 550 charging, which you mentioned.
Yeah, I've never had visual voicemail anyway.
I don't think I've ever had that. No. So like I said, I've got it installed. You can see the hands-on video, but there's not too many changes. It seems okay to me. I mean, a few people have had issues with the Microsoft Band notifications since actually the 107 build, but so far mine seems okay. What I did have to do, though, I had to uninstall the app and reinstall the app after putting the Redstone build on, because I wasn't getting notifications. So that's the phone release, and we'll come back to the dead platform that is Windows 10 Phone mobile shortly. But there was a PC build to go with a PC build of 14267 as well.
Yes, there was, which I was actually still at work when that got announced. I was actually able to get it downloaded in my VM quite quickly.
Very useful.
Yeah,
they should do that more often for you.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes, because you said, well, I haven't got a video out.
Yeah, come on, hurry up.
Yeah, I did do a video that evening. So yes, you can see a hands-on video with that. So what's changed in this build?
You'll have to refresh my memory.
Well, I could give you from my notes. So actually, it's basically the same things as the phone, isn't it? There's the Cortana music icon.
Yes.
Which is straight into Cortana, just like the phone version. There was a few other changes around Microsoft Edge. I think there was an option to clear browsing data when you exit Edge, which is quite interesting. So you can have it you can choose whichever data you wanted to clear. So you could clear your history, or set your favorites, not favorites, your stored passwords and all that kind of thing on exit, which seems quite nice if you're interested in privacy.
Useful for those people who have lots of PCs in their internet cafes.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Because that's an old Internet Explorer feature, isn't it? So
yeah. What else have we got? Improved download prompts in Microsoft Edge. So now you can actually have a download prompt, which is again a feature from Internet Explorer, isn't it? I don't think.
Yeah, that's quite highly requested in the feedback app. So it's interesting to see that can come.
The paperclip icon is there in Skype Messenger, so you can attach pictures.
Which I know you giggled at earlier, but that's actually really useful for me. I use that all the time when I'm communicating with my team to
In fact,
send.
Well, we were transferring pictures of the week when and I think they weren't showing up, were they? In the
no, they're not in
the modern one.
No, so it's unsupported content. I seem to remember.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's useful.
Because you can't. I comment on this. You can't even make a group at the moment in the modern Skype app, which really surprised me.
Yeah, that's right. It's really strange is now. The modern app is really bare bones.
Yeah, I mean, you can use an existing group. So if you kind of go onto the web and then create the group and then go back, you can do it. But yeah, it's very strange.
Now they did fix in this one the PC recovery, didn't they?
Yep, which is useful.
Yes, very useful.
Very useful. As PC recovery, it made it to PC unrecoverable.
Yep. Fixed Windows Hello, which is useful.
Yes. That WS client DLL error.
Yeah. Oh, thank goodness they solved that. That was so many support requests. Since they never told anybody about that, did they?
Yes.
Yeah, just about every blog post.
Yeah. Very crazy.
Yeah.
And funny, I only ever saw that on one device out of the 3 that run in the preview. And I think there was no issue around Hyper-V. So Jason, you can explain this then.
I'm trying to remember what it was now.
It was the V switches have multiple.
Yes. So if you upgraded from a previous build to this Redstone 1 preview, if you've got Hyper-V installed, it used to be that in the old virtual PC and virtual server days that it just hooked a driver into the network card. But now what you do is you actually create a virtual switch, which is essentially like most virtualization. You might have a traditional network switch where you can create VLANs and route traffic, and basically it creates one of those virtually, and then you attach different network adapters to that. And so essentially there was a bug with the upgrade which meant you had to delete all of the virtual adapters and then delete the virtual switch and then recreate them from scratch, which doesn't sound that much of a big issue, but for someone like me with all my different VMs, if you actually delete a card, when you create it, it gets a different kind of GUID. So you then have to go into every virtual machine and reattach its virtual networks back to the new virtual network card. So like I said, it sounds like a small thing, but actually depending on how many VMs you've got, I mean, you could automate it with PowerShell, etc. But that's quite a biggie, really.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought about you and thought, I bet that's quite a bit of a pain to sort out that.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah, so it's a good job I'm not putting these builds on my Surface Pro 3.
So next week you'll have that, will you?
Yeah.
But again, like we said previously, because we're seeing more frequent builds, we're not seeing lots of changes. We're not seeing big jumps between builds, so there are minor changes between each build. But I actually found it pretty stable. I just noticed on my Core 8, it just seemed to crash on the lock screen occasionally. And what was the other issue that I saw quite a few people tweeting about? The hibernation.
Richard Hay was talking about this. That it seems to be that once the machine hibernates, it's very difficult to get it to wake up again. I think the power switch wasn't actually bringing them back on.
Right, and I think I saw something. There was
actually, sorry, it wasn't that they would come back on, but they would literally just sit there, possibly either at the BIOS screen or at the kind of restoring from the hibernation file just indefinitely.
And I think that the fix was sort of once you do manage to get into it, you turn off the fast start, which is the hibernation feature.
Yeah.
Just use the sleep. Yeah, which I'm sure will actually cause issues for people with a Surface Book because that's having sleep issues to start with.
Yeah,
which the recommended fix is to use hibernation.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we were warned, weren't we, that these fast rings were going to have a much lower threshold in terms of releasing them out to the wider public. So yeah, I think
we can't really complain, can we?
No, I mean, they have literally almost been releasing a build a week now. So
yeah.
Gabe Hall doesn't. He's a very patient man.
He is, yes.
I've seen some of the tweets that people say. Where do what divine right do you think these people think they've got?
Yes.
And, it just seems crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with the internet, isn't it? People forget there's
Yes.
actually a human on the end. It's very easy to be bullish when the person's not stood in front of you.
And I think credit to Gabriel, who seems to maintain his calm.
He does, yes. He's got a great sense of humour.
Yeah, yes, definitely. I don't think I'd want to mess with Gabe if I really did. You wouldn't want to get up in Gabe's face, that's for certain.
But you know, just some of the people moaning and think,
No.
you know, and you just think, just get off the inside of the program, go and do something else. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Get Linux Mint installed. It's back door.
Yes.
So that was the PC build anyway. So I've got that installed, and yeah, it seems.
Yeah, I'm running on it now, and it seems to be absolutely fine. So,
Not on my main Surface Pro 3 or this Dell XPS 15 either, but I'll leave
No.
the stuff like that for Jason.
Yeah, that XPS 15 looks very nice.
Yes, and I'm using it fully this week, and it's really nice. And I have I got music software in there. I've got like 20, 30 tracks and virtual instruments, and it just breezes through it. And the old machine that we used to use for the Skype recording, you may remember, you know, I used to say, oh yeah, I've got to reboot it, that's 15 minutes and whatever. And this is much improved. This is doing the Skype recording tonight, and a lot less stress when the thing just works. So yeah, it's working really nice. But the screen is lovely. I think that's what I really do like about it. Interested to see how it compares with the Surface Book, which I'm going to go and have a look at tomorrow night.
Yes, you're not going to buy one then?
No, I'm not going to be buying one. No. So it's the they've been doing these events, Microsoft. I think they did one in London last week, and I think there was one in Birmingham as well. So I'm going to go to the Manchester one tomorrow evening and have a look. But yeah, I'm going there to have a look and take some pictures, but I'm definitely not tempted to.
I heard that last time.
Well, I always intended to look at the 950, but yeah, that was it's not a impulse buy, is it?
No, definitely not. No, definitely not.
But then you do get, you know, if you buy it from Courage, you do get a stylus pack worth $9.99. So.
Oh yeah, well that's a fabulous offer. So
yeah, I tell you what would be really handy is if you manage to fix all these sleep and firmware issues the day before it released in the UK and the rest of Europe.
Yeah, so the Surface Book actually went on sale in the UK, didn't it, last week, just as they released the. Well, I don't know how good these fixes have been because I've not seen much comment about them actually, but they did release new drivers and firmware.
Yeah, I think the general consensus is that they have fixed the issues. Yeah. I think I've seen some people talk about other issues that have arisen since the drivers, since the firmware update, but no, my understanding is that this has fixed the sleep issues. And I would imagine, Panos Panay even wrote a post announcing it, so I think they probably have a pretty high confidence that it's fixed it.
I thought it was quite funny though, wasn't it, that post came out just as it went on sale in the UK?
Yes, yeah. I think they had to hit that date, didn't they? In terms of with these devices being out in a wider audience.
Yeah.
But so hopefully all these people that were using Hibernate to work around the fact that when you put your Surface Book or Surface Pro 4 to sleep, it didn't actually go to sleep, and then essentially basically sat there warming your bag up.
Yeah. That's the great thing about the Surface Pro 3. I was talking to, I think it's Richard Green on Twitter today, about he was looking at the Surface Pro 4 and thought that and had issue, and he was worried about the sort of stability with it. But the Surface Pro 3, I never have any issues with it. I just turn it. I don't even turn it off. I just shut the lid and put it in my bag and never even think about it.
Yeah, literally when I finish work, I undock it. I do make sure I power it off. In terms of literally putting it to kind of what would be connected standby, and literally close up the keyboard, stick it in my bag, and I've got mine set to go to Hibernate after 2 hours. And like tonight when I pulled it out of my bag, it was battery almost still fully charged. It just reloaded up from the Hibernate file, and away I go. So yeah, we talked about when Windows 10 first launched, there was a few little niggles and whatnot with the operating system and adapting to the Surface Pro 3. But I have to say, at this point, what are we, February? So what are we, kind of 8 months after the initial launch? I don't give it a second thought. It's from that perspective, it's a pleasure to use device. I never have to. I don't feel like I'm working around any issues. I don't feel like I'm making allowances for anything. It just works exactly the way I want it to.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, so you're not tempted by the Surface Book then, the i7 one?
No, I mean I do like the look of the Surface Book, but we were talking about this on Twitter today, weren't we? I think I would just end up using it as a laptop.
Yeah.
Because the screen once detached isn't a fully powerful tablet. It's fine for what it's designed for, which is they call it a clipboard, don't they? So it'd be fine for taking it to meetings and writing on the screen. But I tend to use my Surface Pro 3 sitting on the sofa where I actually want the full power of Windows. I don't want, for want of a better phrase, a kind of half experience. I want the full thing. So I would just imagine I'd just end up using it as a laptop, which seems, for me, I think there are nicer laptops out there, like the Dell XPS 13 or 15, and even the Surface Pro 3. I find myself more and more forgetting to take the keyboard off because I just find it so usable on my lap. I tend to use it as a laptop, so I must get back into that habit of using it.
Yeah, I tend to use mine on the sofa without the keyboard. And then I think, I'll do a tweet or a post, so I attach the keyboard and do that way. So it depends really what I'm doing, but yeah, use it a bit of both. But then during the day, it tends to be on the desk and the keyboard on it. But
yeah,
so I played a bit with it out in the States, and I would say that I was actually quite impressed with it as a tablet. I mean, you do lose that extra graphics chip.
Mm-hmm.
So that's about the only thing you really do lose.
And some of the lower spec ones don't have the graphic chip anyway.
They don't, yeah. So some of the lower specs, that's not a problem anyway. You still got this full processor power. It's just the graphics.
Yeah, but you've only got 3 hours of battery life, though.
Well, that's true. Yes. And yeah, maybe my tablet sessions don't tend to be longer than 3 hours. Maybe.
Yeah,
I take that point. That's definitely true.
I mean, I think if I was sitting on the sofa, you're right, probably 3 hours would be enough. But if I was maybe using it for watching media and stuff, then that might not necessarily be long enough, in which case I'd probably just dock it, in which case it might as well be a laptop. So, but yeah, I mean, I think, sorry, speaking of what Ian said, so what I tend to do with my Surface Pro 3 is I'll probably sit down and initially using it with the intention of doing something that I need the keyboard and the trackpad, and then because I just find it so comfortable, I don't kind of then switch back. I don't take the keyboard off when I'm actually probably using it just as a tablet.
Interesting aside as well, I noticed that I was in John Lewis on Sunday and they had no Surfaces at all in there. Because I went around their technology section just go and have a look at the Surface Book, which they sell online, but they didn't have the Surface Pro or anything in there. So no devices.
Quite a few of the Surface Pro 4s on the John Lewis site have been out of stock. Particularly the Core i7 models.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be a case of lack of stock, because my local John Lewis still has a few.
Yeah, just used to have a big section.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think I've seen Microsoft talking on Twitter as well about stock shortages. Actually, no, so it wasn't Microsoft. I think a few people had mentioned they'd heard that there was stock shortages, that hopefully they're ramping back up. But yeah. I think next time I'm in a John Lewis, I'll certainly look to see if there is a Surface Book just to have a go with it.
Yeah,
I mean, I think Ian will enjoy playing with it. Yes, I have to say I was really impressed with the Surface Book when I played, because I was fortunate to Dave McCabe let me get hands on his, and I almost took it home with me. But the screen is absolutely gorgeous on it. That's the thing which I think when you see it, you'll be really impressed with. It's a very, very nice screen, and the form factor is great.
Yeah, I do like the form factor.
So I think, I mean, you're right. It is an expensive laptop, which just happens to be convertible.
Yeah, no, I mean, it does look really nice, but just to be clear, Ian, you're not buying one?
No, definitely not. No,
this time next week.
No, yeah. I've got.
I can see it now, Ian, on the Digital Lifestyle video review of the Surface Book.
If they let me get a review model, great, but that's the only way I'll be doing that. There's just no. When it came to the phone, yeah, I needed to replace the phone, but I definitely don't need it. I've just got this Dell and the Pro 3, so I definitely don't need anything else. But if they want to lend me one to review, then I shall be more than happy to do that.
I saw my first news story today about the Surface Pro 5 launching in October time frame.
Yeah, I saw one of that. That was probably the same
But
one.
there was no information in it whatsoever. It's going to have better battery life and none of the problems of the Surface Pro 4 and launching in October. That was it.
Yeah. Amazing foresight in there.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. But I said ever since the Surface Pro 4 launched, I would love to upgrade to it. But now I think it's taken them so long to fix the issues. I think now I'm going to wait and I'll see what happens with the Surface Pro 5, see what the device is. And if that isn't enough to tempt, then hopefully by then they normally do deals on the previous model, which by then will be the Surface Pro 4. So I think, in fact, the Surface Pro 3 is now discontinued, isn't it? I can't find it anywhere.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's what you struggle to get hold of that.
Mm.
Now, talking of new devices, one Gary may have seen then over the weekend is we've got a new Windows 10 mobile device, and it's not from Microsoft.
No, it's from HP.
Yes, we have quite a few new devices not from Microsoft.
Yes, we do, and that I think starts to show that the Windows 10 on mobile devices strategy is starting to work. I'm not going to call it Windows 10 phone because
no, I thought Windows 10 mobile was dead though. What's going on?
no, Windows 10 phone's dead. I'll happily say that Windows Phone 10 is dead. Windows 10 mobile's well alive.
Yeah, very much so, and with a perfect size device for Ian.
Yes,
Absolutely, yeah. So tell us about this then.
Okay, so this is the see, HP actually called it a mobile device rather than a phone. So let's stick with that. It's the Elite X3, which is basically a mobile Windows 10 mobile device with a Continuum dock and this wonderful laptop accessory, which I have to say I was really blown away with. And I've said this before, that it'd be great if someone could come up with a sort of a screen and a keyboard you could use with your Continuum-based phone. And that's basically what HP have done. So, but this is a hell of a phone. I mean, I will call it a phone, but it's 6-inch display, so it's definitely it doesn't actually feel 6 inches. I mean, it's quite big, but it doesn't feel as big as some other 6-inch devices because it's got so little bezel on it. On the sides, it has got top and bottom. At the bottom, but it's quite stylish. It's got this metal grill at the bottom where the speakers are in, which some people like and some people don't. But it looks quite nice. It's 2560 by 2440 display, running a Snapdragon 820, which is quite a pokey device. 4 gig of RAM. 64 gig of storage inside, and a micro SD slot,
and dual SIM.
And dual SIM, yes. It's going to have an iris scanner on the back. The ones they were showing at the weekend didn't have an iris scanner, but when Microsoft gets the drivers sorted out for iris scanners, it's going to have those on the back, and a fingerprint sensor. So an iris scanner on the front, a fingerprint sensor on the back, which I'll get my terms to. The fingerprint sensor will be on the back once they get this sorted out. The iris scanner is obviously already there because I'm not just using the Hello feature. But you'll be able to use the fingerprint sensor with Windows Hello as well. It's fast, it's quick. The dock is lovely. It's a stand-up dock, a bit like the one we're going to get for the Acer device. With all this normal stuff you're expecting, so you can plug it in and use it. The interesting, the laptop thing actually doesn't work with the dock. It works using wireless.
Is that through Miracast?
Yeah, it's the new Miracast version as well.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
And it seemed incredibly snappy.
It must use Bluetooth then for the keyboard side of it.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, although they weren't totally clear on that, but it seemed incredibly snappy. It really was like using a Surface RT, a modern version of that. So it was just obviously it's not an Intel based machine, so it's obviously not able to use x86 apps. Oh, except it is, because HP have included their own virtualization technology, which means your business could host loads of x86 apps, and you can use them within their virtualization technology. It was getting a lot of excitement for businesses. A lot of really big businesses were very interested in it. Because it's a very secure way of doing BIB. Well, actually, not even being the device, but as a device for businesses, they can. It fits into their Microsoft strategies quite well. Well, in your day job role, would that be something be interesting?
Yeah, I think so. I said previously we've used the low cost Windows phones as a good phone just to give to people. But I can imagine a salesperson, you could give them the phone, and then they can just have the keyboard or the laptop extender, and that's all they need, isn't it? Then,
Yeah.
and I think that these extenders not expensive, is it?
No, not hugely.
I think it was less than £100, was it?
Yeah, they're talking about bundles with that being included with the device. Pricing's a bit up in the air at the moment. Nobody's really sort of said what it's going to cost, but it's certainly good bid.
You can see, I mean, Continuum is great, and I've got the dock here in front of me, but I very rarely use it because I've got enough devices to sort of go round that I don't have to do that. But I can see someone having the phone and one of these the laptop extenders, and that's all they need. And the nice thing is you can have everything on your phone, and you don't have to worry about syncing documents. I mean, we use things like OneDrive and OneNote and all that to do the syncing now, but you wouldn't even have to worry about that, would you? Everything would be on that one device. You don't have to do internet connection sharing or mobile hotspots or have 2 SIM cards to, one device for mobile data, one for your phone. It's all that. It's all now self-contained package.
Yeah, I think for most mobile warriors, for most of the business type usage of it, that will be sufficient, especially if you've got this virtualization approach where you can run your old x86 apps on it. So I mean, I could certainly see that being. I was wondering if I could run Visual Studio on this virtualization, do some development. But certainly it looks like, and that Snapdragon processor seemed very, very fast. Everything on Continuum was running really quickly.
I mean, as we've talked about remote desktop, that now they've enabled that run on Continuum. It actually works quite well, and I've used Visual Studio on my laptop, which I then RDP'd onto from the phone with the Continuum, and that works fine. So yeah, I can see that. I want to be interested if Microsoft could offer some kind of strategy like that using Azure or something like that, even on a personal level.
Well, they have been talking about this virtualization of x86 as one of their projects, so I could see that coming as well.
It's certainly the laptop extender actually makes more sense in some ways than the dock. I do like the dock, but you don't. If you're out on the road, you're not going to carry the dock, keyboard, a mouse, and a screen. You just but you would carry one of these and just have the 2 devices, and maybe it's kind of a good idea now, and you can see where it's going. But if the principle of universal apps really takes off, and we get to the point where phones are powerful enough, which they're almost there now anyway, aren't they? But powerful enough to do everything that you want them to do, and we've got the apps there, then why bother having multiple devices? And
also, I mean, for enterprise, actually, a lot, they don't necessarily have a massive wide requirement for apps.
No.
All the core things are there: email, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. They're all built into the phone already.
And a lot of a lot of stuff is browser based.
Yes, yeah. So and also the X3 has the Pogo pins on the back, so it's an extensible platform. So people will be able to buy, create sleeves for it for point of sale devices or scanners.
They were already talking about barcode scanners. Actually, I mean, that launch totally reminded me of going back this show my age again, but the original compact iPad launch.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when you mentioned that. Yeah,
and they suddenly created a whole new business model for a product which didn't really have one at that point. And there's been nothing like that since, where you can create all these sort of vertical market applications. And I think this will have that. I just want to go back on the mobile, the mobile dock, which they actually call a mobile extender. This laptop, which I like that, the Mi Dock, because that's, I mean, that in itself is a great bit of kit. It's a 1080p LED display, and it's gorgeous. Looks beautiful. You can. I did slightly misspoke, because you can use the USB-C if you want to do a wired connection, but it's actually meant to be using the Miracast wireless connection. And it's the battery life on it seemed that it's a 46.5 WHR battery, which means it's probably going to get about 18 hours in real use of battery life, which is quite usable. So you could sling that in your pack, and there'd be a couple of days usage out of it. And it'll charge off the same charger as your phone charges as well. So I think it's got a lot going for it.
And it has the plus points that Windows RT had, doesn't it? That when I used to talk about, when I went to CS with the Surface 2, which is RT, I just could leave the charger in the hotel. It had Word and everything else, so I could do all the blog posts, and it was great for that. And it's only when I want to look at sort of doing video editing or audio editing for the podcast, then you need a second device. So this has the plus points of that, but combined with being one device, I just think that is quite nice to have one device. So it's simpler to explain to a salesperson on the road. This, if you want to use the browser, it's that button. It's Edge on your phone, or if you're on the dock, then it's that, and it's the same thing. Your favorites are there. Everything, your history is the same. Everything's the same. It's all there. So I think it is for businesses. I can see it being
and it's easy to lug about. I mean, it's quite a big screen, because that's the other thing. It's 12.5 inch screen, but it's also it's a 1 kilo device. I mean, and most of that's the battery. To be fair, they put quite a lot of chunky batteries there because people are going to use it for a long time. So I think that, I mean, it's a nice bit of kit.
And of course, it doesn't necessarily have to be the X3. It'll work with any Continuum, any Windows phone. Windows 10 mobile device that supports Continuum. So the 950, 950 XL, the was it the VAIO? The VAIO, isn't it? It's got Continuum support. Yeah, because what I wasn't clear on, the HP device, these are all kind of business enterprise. Is it going to be a consumer available product? Any of these?
There will be routes to market to buy it. I can imagine it being available through the business type retailers in the UK, sort of the eBay and Tabs.
Yeah, I think I'd definitely try one of them keyboards, the laptop extenders, if they're not too expensive.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I mean, essentially, this is what Nextdoc launched their fundraiser for, isn't it? So it looks like there's going to be quite a few solutions. It's and all joking aside about Windows 10 mobile being a dead platform, but it certainly feels like there's quite a bit of momentum behind this. Obviously whether or not it succeeds or not, we'll find out in 12 months, 18 months time.
All I can really say is there's an awful lot of people talking about that product out there. It was interesting because you obviously had the Samsung S7 launch the same day, and to be honest, the HP got more press. which is saying something. So if you don't want that nice mobile extender, you have got alternatives. Acer announced also MWC the new J Primo Premium Pack, which is also coming out in a similar time frame to the HP, because most of these devices seem to be coming out during July time, which is, I think, when they're expecting the next build of Windows 10 to be out there.
Oh, if only I predicted that.
Yeah, you did. But the Premium Pack is quite an interesting concept. So this is a box you can pick up, and in it you'll get your J Primo Windows 10 mobile phone, which we've just mentioned before, a Continuum dock, a nice case, a keyboard, a mouse, and a PC monitor.
Wow.
And you can carry this around to your hotel room to set up and use it.
Yeah, I think this is where Windows 10 on phones isn't competing directly with Android or iOS. It's competing but not winning. So using some of these other ways of working is the way to do it. And I think it puts Microsoft, so the Continuum puts them in a position where as the phones improve, then this becomes a more important market.
Oh yeah, I think so. I mean, the biggest selling point seemed to be the security of it, but certainly for businesses, that they could lock down that device to be their own apps, and it fitted nicely into their ecosystem.
Because the Continuum dock, the HP Continuum dock, even has a Kensington lock, doesn't it? I mean, it's a proper, enterprise type device.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice device. It really is. So I think. But we're going to see more and more of these. I mean, obviously, we've spoken about the VAIO one, which is only available in Japan. It looks like Japan's going to be a big market for Windows 10 Mobile. There's 2 or 3 companies already saying they're releasing the business end. But what's interesting about this is the type of manufacturers are getting into this. It was a really weird MWC this year, because we had a computer manufacturer announcing a phone and a phone manufacturer announcing a tablet. And we had more than one phone manufacturer talking about having Windows 10 tablets.
Alcatel was it? Didn't they?
Yeah, Alcatel. We had Huawei, obviously, with their very nice device, which is the Mate, which is definitely a Surface competitor. But it's interesting, you've got these phone manufacturers making devices which are Windows 10 tablets, but a bit more, these 2-in-1 devices, and they all seem really keen on that. I guess it's licensing deals again. So you're going to get this market crossover where Windows 10 becomes a product which isn't a phone product, but is used on phones.
Yes.
So yeah, I said earlier, I'm happy to say Windows Phone's dead, but I don't think Windows 10 Mobile is.
No. Well, it's like it's, at the end of the day, it's what Satya said, isn't it? Look, not necessarily in so many words, but he pretty much kind of said, look, we're conceding that we missed this mobile market, but actually what we're looking for is the next curve. The next big thing, and Continuum might not be it, but blimey, it's a good stab at it.
Yeah. So Ian was mentioning the Alcatel one. That's the Plus 10 2-in-1 Windows tablet. Yeah, it's quite a nice device. Quad-core Intel processor, nice IPS display. The LTE keyboard is really clever on that. You can detach the keyboard and it becomes a Wi-Fi hotspot.
Right.
And that's an LTE keyboard. So basically, it's a phone. It's a giant-sized phone. It's a reasonable-sized phone for you, Ian. It's 10-inch phone.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
That's good, actually, because I was trying to figure out why the LTE part was built into the keyboard and not the actual tablet itself.
Yeah. Well, the tablet can still communicate with the keyboard that way. So it's as a Wi-Fi unit, because it's got Wi-Fi in the tablet. So it's quite a clever idea, that.
What I like to see, though, is that some of these manufacturers are just trying things different like that.
Yeah.
And Windows 10 does give OEMs the flexibility to do that. And it just seems to be that as much as Google have tried with Android on a tablet, it's amazing, really, isn't it, that the success of Android on phones just hasn't really crossed over to tablets. You can get Android tablets, and lots of people use them, but it's still not a great experience compared to using just Windows 10. Maybe Windows 10 offers some extra flexibility that the OEMs that can do things with, like that Alcatel one.
Yeah, and the other one I mentioned there is obviously the Huawei MateBook, which is gorgeous. It looks like something Apple would have designed.
Keyboard's very much like the iPad Pro keyboard, isn't it?
It is. But the actual device is quite like the Surface Pro.
Right. Yeah.
It's a Core M5, 256 gig SSD in it, 8 gigs of RAM. You can have a 512 gig SSD if you want. USB-C, Windows Hello. It's nice.
I mean, they're not really known for doing high-end devices, are they? Huawei. They're used to, I always think of them as the lower-end phones and mobile. Well, I think they started off as an ODM, weren't they, for other manufacturers creating the mobile hotspot things.
Yeah, and the pen's got a laser in it.
Don't point it at a plane, please.
No, definitely don't point at a plane.
Definitely don't do that.
But no, that looked a really, really nice device as well. So lots of good stuff coming out.
Yeah, there was the new Lenovo Yoga.
Yes, yeah.
510 and 710.
Yeah, the Mix 330, was it? Mix 300.
Yeah.
And the what was the other one I was looking at? Samsung one that was already announced, the Tab Pro S.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of choice, and I think as we said before, these things are Windows 10 devices, whether they're a phone or a PC. The Windows 10, and there's just different flavors to suit the form factor.
Yeah, and I think that's and it's interesting that a lot of these are in what we would have classed as the phablet type market, the 6-inch,
which is the new standard.
Which is the new standard.
It's just needs to get over it and get
needs to get with the program.
It was interesting. I was chatting to someone at the weekend, and we were talking about that size, and he said it's perfect for the Japanese market because of the Kanji's character set. You get enough stuff on the screen to make it readable to have a 6-inch tablet, so 6-inch phone. So that's probably what the driving force has been.
So it's that and me.
Yeah.
It's funny when I just look at my Galaxy Note, the original one, it looks tiny now, and that at the time seemed massive.
Yeah.
What else did we have? So that was some good stuff from MWC, and hopefully we'll get some. We'll see some more devices. We'll see some of these devices actually retail and help with Windows 10. Yes, we know it's not going to be competing directly and in everybody's hands, but I've heard a few podcasts saying, well, currently the only people using Windows Phone are enthusiasts, but we know that's not the case in the UK. There are just normal people.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. I was chatting to a couple of people about apps. It was actually surprising. There was a number of people who spoke to me about apps coming for new Internet of Things type devices at the weekend, and they were saying that they were doing the Windows 10 desktop version. I said, "Well, is that a universal app?" Oh, we don't know. And they've come back to me and say, "Yes, it is," but they've actually only targeted the desktop version because they've seen the market for the phone so poor. Because they're American companies, so hopefully they'll take that away and realise that there is actually, especially being in Spain, where virtually every second device you saw out on the street was a Windows Phone. It's interesting if you see phone accessories marketed in Spanish supermarkets and things like, they all come in boxes with Windows 10 phone screens on the front of them, USB cables and things like that. So it's a much bigger market out there, certainly in Spain and Italy than elsewhere in the world.
Well, let's hope that just rubs off a little bit, and these things at least are there. That they're an emerging technology with these things like Continuum things, and Microsoft can continue to develop it.
Yeah, I think, while Microsoft developed the operating system, people seem to have this massive focus on whether or not, if Microsoft stops making phones, that Windows 10 Mobile or Windows Phone is dead. But, I think people forget when Windows Phones 7 launched, Microsoft weren't making phones. When Windows Phone 8 launched, Microsoft weren't making phones. It's it doesn't begin and end with them. The operating system begins and ends with them, but not the hardware.
Yeah. So, well, we'll see what we get on the future for that, and we'll see next week whether I bought a Surface Book. No, I won't. I know that's not going to happen. That's definitely well outside. If it had been £400, yeah, maybe, but not that price.
So, you get training for your Surface Pro 3,
Don't start. I'm saving up. I'm getting a new synthesizer. That's my next thing. So,
Surface Book would make a great synthesizer.
Oh right, that's it. So tell us, Gary, where can we find your stuff?
You can find me, Gary, at Fascinating Tech on the fascinatingtech.com magazine, and you can find me, Gary WMA, on Twitter. I was getting the two confused there for a minute, but and lots of tweets and things coming up, and you can hear more on my curtain project, which seems to be the most emailed about thing I ever spoken about on Digital Lifestyle. So many emails about how I did my automated curtains. So I've added a bit to that project since I spoke about it.
Yeah, and Jason, where can we find you tweeting to your broadband?
Yeah, you can. You can find me keeping Windows 10 Mobile alive at Database Jace.
Excellent. So,
and rant about lack of super fast broadband and anything else that catches my eye.
So we should be back next week, 9 p.m. UK time. But we have got, so don't go yet because we've got an interview that Gary's got lined up. So we're doing that next. But we'll be back next week, and I'll take some pictures and I may have some video of the Surface Book event, and you can see them on our YouTube channel, on the digitallifestyle.com, and on my Twitter at ISDixon. So until next week, enjoy the interview coming up, and I'll see you next week.
Yeah, and over to my friends at Real Illusion.
Cheerio.
Cheerio.
Excellent.